Not a lot of people lose 100 pounds or more, and even less people are able to keep that weight off for 5 years or more. And that gives me a very unique perspective on a universal topic. If you're enjoying this from the audio only podcast audience, I'm showing a montage of when I was super fat and then I'm wearing a similarly blue shirt so you can see in comparison. Holy shit, that guy used to be a big boy. It was very difficult to get this out of me. It was a very emotionally draining. And it took so much fucking time because I didn't know how to film or how to do audio or how to do lighting. And as shitty as it looks, would you believe it? This was over multiple tries. I used several cameras. The audio failed in a bunch of different places. I mean, everything that went wrong. And I still kept going. And like, I had to go to a hotel to do this. I only booked 3 days. It ended up taking 5 or 6 days. And by the time I filmed this and got to the hotel, I was off of my fitness routine, so I was eating shitty and I wasn't working out. And then I think, oh my god, I'm so fucking fat. I'm gonna make this videos about losing weight, and fuck, all my money's going into my hoodie business and my hoodie project, so I'm fucking cutting my hair myself, and it's at the very beginning and I'm less good at cutting my hair. And so fuck, bro, I was sitting on it a long time and it took a long time to edit. But it's also, I'm marketing myself as a self-esteem coach, and it's really a lesson in my self-esteem to do something that I, for some reason, am having feelings of shame and embarrassment, when in reality, like, you're here for me. You came to watch my shit. And so why should I feel embarrassed or ashamed? I'm here alone by myself. And like, I'm glad you're here, but the idea that I will feel embarrassed or ashamed, no way, Jose. So the worse I look at these videos and the more scary and cringy it is to put it on the internet for you to see, the more I gotta say, look at me grow here, look at me go here. So thanks for checking it out, and I would be doing a bad job if I didn't even at least say, if any of these things sound like something you might be dealing with in your life and you want to work on your self-esteem, please schedule a self-esteem coaching session with me. Thanks for checking it out, and I would be doing a bad job if I didn't at least say, if you're interested in working on your self-esteem, schedule a coaching session with me today. Thanks. I bought a new shirt for this. I didn't take the stickers off yet, but I guess it's time. But I already feel myself getting sweaty in this. I've been in this hotel room for 3 days. It took me 3 months. It took me 3 months to write out these thoughts. It took me 3 months to write these thoughts out. And then I've been in this hotel room for 3 days, and I haven't filmed anything. This is the first. Okay. I worked on this script for 3 months. That's not even a script. I worked on my thoughts for 3 months. I've been in this hotel room for 3 days, and I have 3 hours left until I have to check out, and I haven't recorded anything because I'm scared. I'm so scared. I already feel myself getting sweaty. That's how scared I am. And there's not even anybody else in here but me. I guess I'm gonna start. I'm so sweaty. Ugh. I'm already getting sweaty. Okay, why am I doing this? Why am I going through? I'm sorry, I need to change. I'm so sweaty, I cannot. My shirt to a darker shirt because I am too sweaty to do this. Okay, why am I doing this? I've been waiting a long time to make these videos. Some of them I've been waiting like 15 years to make. I was kind of waiting for the exact perfect time when I felt like the most like oh, this is the perfect time. But there is no perfect time, I'm discovering, unfortunately. I'm so fucking sweaty. Um, I was waiting for the absolute perfect time when I felt like not scared at all. But I don't think that's coming. I don't think there's going to be a moment when I'm not scared to do this. So I guess that means I have to do it now. Um, I see. It's even hard to talk about, man. Uh, man, uh, being overweight is really hard, and there's a lot of there's a lot of mental components that go along with being overweight that nobody ever talked to me about. Nobody ever explained, hey, if you lose a large amount of weight, you're going to have some mental changes that go along with that. So it's not just eating low calorie foods and exercising. There's an entire mentality and mental component that comes with like long-term sustained weight loss. And that's really what I want to talk about because I was so disappointed that I had to figure out a lot of these things on my own. I was I was so disappointed that I had to figure out a lot of these things on my own. And uh you're losing weight or thinking about losing weight or you lost weight, you have had some similar situations and thoughts. And maybe these videos will be helpful for you. Um, I think ultimately, though, I went through a lot of expense and effort to make these videos. Even if this turns out to be a net financial loss for me, I still needed to do this because even if nobody else hears this message, I needed to talk to myself, if that makes sense. And a lot of these things are nobody else is going to tell me these things. And it's nobody else is going to tell me these things. And frankly, it's no one's responsibility to tell me some of these things. It's my responsibility to myself. And I guess that's what I'm trying to do. I ever since I was a kid, I've always struggled with my weight and with food. And like I said, it was really confusing, especially in my childhood, because I couldn't understand why I was so overweight and all the other kids weren't. And I guess also, not only talking to my current self, but a lot of these things I want to tell my younger self. And again, I can't go back in time, but there's a there's a younger self inside of me, inside my mind somewhere, and at least maybe I could go back and tell that version, and that's the best I can really do. Uh, when when I was growing up and overweight, I was so angry and upset at my body and at myself. I thought intrinsically I was somehow wrong, or I thought my body was broken or didn't work, or it was a sign of my failure being overweight. It really bothered me as a kid, and I attributed pretty much everything negative that happened to me to my weight. So when I was a kid and girls would reject me, that's because I'm fat. When I was a kid and anytime anything bad happened to me, anytime someone was mean to me, anytime something didn't work out, I intrinsically blamed my weight. And it felt very authentic because at times my weight did get in the way of doing things. And so it felt like it was a continuation of that. But in reality, it wasn't. And I guess that's part of the mentality that I was talking about, kind of shifting from, like childhood obesity to becoming an adult and not carrying some of those negative thoughts about myself. Because You can go to the gym quite a bit and you can lose a lot of weight. But if you don't spend time thinking about yourself in a different way than when you gained a lot of weight, especially if you gained a lot of weight, if you gained a lot of weight because you found yourself using food as a form of comfort when you were upset, not because you simply didn't understand nutrition. And I was in the category of eating for comfort. Even after you exercise and you lose a lot of weight, how you haven't really fixed the problem. You've found a solution for the result, but the actual problem of eating when you're upset, how will you resolve that? And at first, when I was losing weight, I thought, well, after I lose weight, that's the source of all my problems. So after I lose weight, I won't feel upset and need to eat food because I'll have lost weight and all the things that are making me upset are due to my weight. Therefore, I'm not going to have to worry about that. And unfortunately, I will tell you, this is not the case. You will still have to deal with the emotional and mental relationship you have with food for the rest of your life. It's like you might go to the gym for a day or a week or a month or a year or a decade, but even beyond that, your relationship with food will persist. So it's not really this thing that you can just kind of push into the background and forget and maybe hope maybe it's going to work out on its own. Unfortunately, just like exercise, it takes dedicated, consistent effort. And again, I was pretty shocked to find out that long term successful weight loss has a mental component that requires mental training and mental effort. Uh, and this is not talked about in the NASM book. This is not really talked about in any type of coaching certification. This is not really talked about in nutrition plans or fitness plans. And that's, I guess, why I feel it's so important to talk about it, because just as important as all those things, this was a major part of my life. This mentality and how I felt about myself in relation to my physique, my body, my relationship with food. That's the whole half, if not more than half, of the program, um, and I feel that's important to talk about, even if I'm only talking about it for me. Um, I think especially a problem that I had that I don't know if anybody else has, but I'm only talking to myself, and I guess you can be here if you would like to observe quietly. Um, oh shit, what was I saying? One of the things, especially when I was like middle school aged and pretty overweight, at that time you're kind of beginning the transition from childhood to adolescent, and all of a sudden gender roles and gender becomes much more apparent. And yeah, for me, I was a chubby middle schooler, and I worried that I wasn't gonna grow up to be. Oh god, it sounds so ridiculous. I was worried that I wasn't gonna grow up to be a real man, because when I was growing up, not a lot of overweight men were. When I was growing up, there were not a lot of overweight male role models that I even was aware of. I'm sure that there were, but there were none in my sphere of knowledge. And it made me worried. I was concerned. I was worried. Am I going to be a man? Because none of the other men that I'm seeing that I would, think, wow, this guy is successful. This guy, I really want to emulate. I really want to be like this guy. No, there, I couldn't find any. And I was worried. What's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to me when I grow up? Am I going to grow up to be a real man? I don't know. And that was another layer. That was an additional obstacle. Is this feeling of manhood and what is being a man in the modern world. And I actually see this theme pretty common in the gym or in other bodybuilding circles or in kind of the health and wellness fitness industry. There's a lot of overlap between, in my life experience, between being a man and power and strength in your physique. There's a lot of crossover. If I've made the mistake of thinking it's a 1-to-1 ratio of, wow, look at this guy, he's so fucking big. Look at this fucking huge beast unit, man. 7 feet tall, 350 pounds, 12% body fat. Look at this fucking guy. And I would feel bad because I would think, oh man, I'm never going to be like that. And if that's a man, and if that's what's attractive, and if that's what power and strength is, well, where the fuck does that put me? Even if I do my best and have a private chef and have the best trainers and the best PEDs and the best doctors, I don't think I'm gonna become 7 feet tall. I don't think I'm gonna become 350 pounds. Like my frame and my cardiovascular system just, it would be stressed. And I took that as kind of a defeatist. I took that as a kind of defeatist perspective. What am I to do? Oh no. But while that may have been true in a previous time in humanity, where if you were smaller and there was someone bigger, oh shit. Like, unless you had a better weapon or you had a bunch of friends, like, yeah, he's probably gonna win. But that's really not the case in the modern world. There's a bunch of people that are. I like a lot of, crime documentaries, gang documentaries, things like that. And sometimes the leader of the gang or whatever violent organization, he himself is not a terribly intimidating man in terms of stature. Like, fuck, have you ever fucking seen Goodfellas? You should get my fucking shoebox. Yeah, physical size and power no longer just as a 1-to-1 ratio. And I thought things as so black and white. I always think, tough guys are in gangs or in the mafia or in prison or doing gang shit. I always think those guys are tough guys. Like, oh man, they have tattoos on their face and they're fucking mean and huge. And I think, oh fuck, this is a serious guy right there. And sometimes the leader of the gang, the guy that says, okay, fucking kill this guy, he is like 5'6", chubby, 220 pounds of fat. And like, dude, everybody listen, the fucking giant ass goons say, yes, boss. And here we go. And like, if just muscle, if it was black and white, just the person who has the most muscle, the person who has the most size, they win. Well, how's that working out, man? In my life, when I've been controlling or unkind or any of the characteristics that I dislike, it's almost been because I felt like compelled, like, I have to feel this way or I have to respond this way because how can I let someone do this to me or talk to me like this or cut me off or whatever? And in an almost ironic twist of fate, uh, in my life, I have come to discover that kindness is actually born out of strength, and that cruelty and meanness and any of these kind of negative emotions that I'm talking about have an anchor in insecurity and weakness. And consider this, when someone asks you for help or someone wrongs you, it's very easy to knee-jerk react and say, no, this is mine, I'm not going to help you, that's your problem. Or, how could you do this to me? I'm really going to make you pay. I'm going to make you fucking pay. And those just feel so easy to come out, and they feel so justified, and they feel, well, this is if A plus B equals C, then A equals C. I mean, this is, It just seems very it feels like the natural order of things, that when someone wrongs you, it's your responsibility now to be upset with them and force them to pay. And that's valid. It is. But it's also valid that you could not do that. And you could overcome the natural urges that come up in you and say, well, instead of doing that, I'm going to choose to have a different response. That's very difficult. It takes a lot of strength to do that. It takes very little strength to get upset and let your emotions control you. And where I'm going to link this is that idea of controlling your emotions and recognizing when you have a desire to do a behavior that's very valid and justified, and still choosing a higher path. And what I mean is, when you're making food decisions, it's very easy to say, it's Friday, I worked very hard all week long, I got paid today, I'm gonna go out to eat, I'm gonna eat a delicious meal, I'm gonna go drink, I'm gonna do this because I deserve it, I worked hard. And the fact of the matter is, you did work hard, you do deserve it. But if you eat those things and do those things, you will not reach the fitness goals that you yourself have. So, unfortunately, you're going to have to choose to not do something that you want and that you like and that you're 100% justified in having. And that's fucking terrible. It hurts and it's not good. It feels bad and it's anguish. But over time, I was surprised to find that that skill applied to many different areas of my life. Being able to recognize, I'd really like to eat that fucking cake. I can afford it. I have time. I couldn't, no one's gonna know. What is stopping me? Nothing. No one is stopping me except for me. And I guess, I guess that's what's so perplexing, is that it seems like such a small thing, choosing what to eat. But I, in my life, have found that it's not such a small thing. It's actually a very large thing. And it actually seeps into many other decisions and behaviors in my life. And does does that anybody else? Does that happen to you? Maybe. I don't know. I feel awkward talking about it, and I'm in this room by myself. And so I don't know if anybody else, maybe you're in your room by yourself. Does this sound familiar to you? I don't know. Nobody's ever talked to me about this. And I guess I want to talk about it. Hey, thanks for listening. If you want to feel better about yourself, schedule a coaching session with me today.